Alright, I never thought I would talk about geopolitical stuff on this channel, and I don't want to make this channel about that, and I really don't want to make it a partisan channel, although I do like to crack the occasional partisan joke. You will see that happen from time to time. If you decide to comment on this video at any point, I welcome it, but please keep it civil. I don't want any name calling. I expect people to behave respectfully in my comments. You know, let's just keep it civil, y'all. We've got to learn to have civil discourse in this country, and also be thoughtful. I will say this: try to put yourself in the other person's shoes when you read the comment. Why are they reacting the way they're reacting, or why is their opinion the way that it is? And is it, in fact, based in fact, or is it just based in talking points from a particular political party? I'm not really interested in that. But moving on, I want to talk about how the tariffs impact motorcyclists. I'm really concerned about it. I'm particularly concerned about the entry-level motorcyclist and the kids, the real kids. I don't mean like the 19-year-old kids. I mean like the real kids, the little 10-year-olds and 8-year-olds getting their first bikes for Christmas, and we'll get to that. But I'm going to start at the top of the food chain, and I'm going to talk about how it could impact domestically produced motorcycles in the United States. Now, y'all, it's a fact. Honda, Kawasaki, Suzuki, they're not going to move their plants to the United States to avoid the tariff. That's just not going to happen. And right now, they're you know, susceptible to what, 25% tariff? That is going to impact the price of the thing being sold to you. So if you're looking at a Kawasaki or a Honda or something like that, expect to see a price bump somewhere around 10%. You know, all that stuff's going to get marked up. So assuming that the dealer markups and whatnot stay the same proportionally, you're not going to feel the entire impact of that tariff, but you are going to feel it at some point. Now, it will impact you in another way. If you decide that you want to sell a motorcycle, especially one that is not that old. A lot of us buy bikes and we find out that in a year or less, we don't like them. Your bike, congratulations, has depreciated a little bit less, and that's good news for you. So congratulations, you are the lucky beneficiary of the Trump tariff. We saw that during COVID. We're going to see it again with this. Anytime the new prices go up or the inventory contracts, it helps the used market. But domestically produced motorcycles, that's the second area that is going to be impacted. And I'm thinking particularly Harley and Indian. A lot of their motorcycle content, the steel the bike is made from, as well as the parts that go in the bike, a lot of that comes from across the border. A lot of it comes from Canada and Mexico. Our supply chain in the United States is integrated across those borders. It's basically one, you know, North America is one large economy under the government, or governance rather, of three governing bodies, you know, Mexican government, the Canadian government, and our United States government. Putting the tariffs on things that cross the border is going to push the cost of your bike up probably 20 points. So if you are a blue-collar guy or gal looking for your first Harley or Indian, you might want to go ahead and pull the trigger on existing inventory. It's going to get more expensive. It's not going to get cheaper. And these small dollar parts, I suspect they're not going to start producing them here. I mean, 25 points probably isn't enough to make somebody make a major life decision in terms of where they produce their parts. Most of us are just going to soak it up and absorb it, and in 3 years we'll forget it ever happened. Now, we'll complain looking back on it that motorcycles cost more than they used to, but in 3 years, let's just face it, 20% price bump or so, most Americans are going to just forget about it. Sucks, but that's the truth. The third way this is going to impact us, though, and the one that I'm probably worried about the most. Well, before I get to that, let's talk about gear. The third thing that the tariffs are going to have a really, really high impact on, though, in my opinion, is going to be motorcycling gear. So, European gear, 10 points or so, not a huge bump, but it was already pretty expensive, and gosh, I don't want it to be anymore. But am I going to really feel the difference on 10 points in a Dianese jacket, or however the hell you say their name? Yeah, I'll feel it, but is it going to stop me? No. It's just not. But let's talk about the people at the entry level. The people who are getting into motorcycling and they're buying riding gear from China. Those people are going to really feel the pinch. If you were looking at Built or Sedici, congratulations. I can't even talk. Congratulations. Donald Trump just made you buy a European brand. I mean, that's what happens, right? That stuff from China is going to double in price. It's going to look a lot less attractive to you because we all know the quality is not going to double in quality. And you're going to go to a European brand. Not going to help us any, but it's going to definitely help Dianese and Alpinestar, Revit. They're going to really benefit from this in a very unplanned way. So I hope they appreciate it. Maybe with increased sales, they can lower their prices. I don't know. But it's going to make it more expensive for the entry-level rider either way. If you have to have gear and you have to pay twice as much, that's kind of a big deal. You know, when you buy your first motorcycle, and let's say you spend $3,000 on it, you get a used one or maybe a used Chinese one, and we'll get to that in a bit too. And all of a sudden you got to buy gear to go on your bike. You know, you got to budget for a helmet and pants and boots and gloves and a jacket. You're either going to skip the gear, which I would not advise. Is a very dangerous hobby. All riding, motorcycling, well, if it's a hobby or it's just a mode of transportation, it is dangerous, and you should always, always, always wear the gear. Do not skip it, but it may impact you in a way that you can't afford to buy it. So the right thing to do would be don't get on the bike without gear. But we all know some people are going to do it, especially when they're 19, because let's face it, when you're 19, you don't make the best life choices. Your frontal lobe is not fully developed. And I'm worried about those kids. I really am. I'm also worried about the little kids that ride around their parents' backyards. You know, I started out riding a YZ80 in the woods down in Georgia. I was privileged to have that, and I was privileged to have a situation where I had a lot of land to ride on that belonged to my grandfather, and that belongs to, well, I won't get into that. Got some stinky family, y'all. But anyhow, I was lucky, and you know, a lot of us are in that boat. Even in my neighborhood, where the yards are still generously sized, but they're about 1.5 acres. You know, little kids ride around in the neighborhood on little bitty 50cc or 80cc motorcycles or quads, usually quads. Parents these days feel like that's safer somehow. I digress. But those bikes or quads they're cheap. I mean, I'm talking about Chinese quads. I'm not talking about Hondas. I'm talking about like CF Moto or some no-name Chinese thing they bought off Amazon or at the local Tractor Supply. Well, those just got twice as expensive. So where it was like $1,000, now it's going to be $2,000. That's going to suck. There's going to be less kids getting into the hobby young. Less kids sort of indoctrinated in the world of motorcycling and smelling the gas and enjoying the thrills. And that really is just sad. It really, really is sad. I don't like that one stinking bit. And speaking of CF Moto, those people that want a CF Moto are going to feel this in a massive way. Now, CF Moto, love them or not, they're trying to make a name for themselves in North America, and they're putting out a lot of compelling products. They're especially going after niches that have been unattended to by major motorcycle manufacturers. One such niche that I will bring up is the lightweight adventure bike niche. There's really only 2 lightweight adventure bikes in the market besides CF Moto. That would be the Himalayan, which will not have nearly as big of a price bump. You probably won't even notice it. And the KTM, if they're even in business, the KTM 390 Adventure. Excellent little bike when it runs. Quality could use some help. And I realized that I think, is it built by CF Moto? I can't remember. But anyway, you have those 2, and then now you have the Ibex 450, which is a very charismatic twin-cylinder, 270-degree, lightweight, well-equipped adventure bike, and it was coming in at what, less than $6 grand? I really wanted one. I was looking for a dealer that was going to rate me in fees. Sorry, women, for using that term, but that's how it feels. And now that motorcycle that was $6 grand or so is going to cost what, 8 probably, 8.5. That's Tenere territory, y'all. I mean, even if you really wanted the lightest adventure bike you could with a 2-cylinder engine, it's a lot less attractive and a lot harder to make the decision to buy an Ibex 450 at 8 grand when you could get a Tenere for similar kind of money. And yes, the Tenere is a much heavier motorcycle, but it's also a Yamaha, and it's going to be a better bike. No 2 ways about it. I don't care how much you love CF Moto, the Yamaha is going to be better. It just is. So if you don't mind the extra weight, you're just going to start to ignore the CF Moto. I mean, its whole value prop is mostly gone. And that sucks. Again, we are helping out the Asian producers outside of China by way of this. You know, Yamaha, all of a sudden, their Tenere just, what little cross-shopping there was just got eliminated. And perhaps some people that weren't looking at a Tenere will now look at a Tenere or a Transalp. You know, you could be going into the Honda territory in terms of purchasing for what the CF Moto Ibex 450 is going to cost. Really bad unintended consequence. No American manufacturer is going to benefit from that, by the way. There's nobody here making any adventure bike at all except for Harley, and that thing is a gigantic behemoth of a motorcycle. Really cool, but a behemoth nonetheless. Definitely never cross-shopped against a Transalp, a Tenere, or a CF Moto Ibex 450. So, unintended consequence. And last but not least, I'll talk about the electronic gear that I'm using to record this video. It's all Chinese. Let's just face it, they've cornered the market. DJI, killer action camera. I'm recording this on a Insta360 camera right now on my helmet. I have the Ace Pro 2, awesome little camera, also from China. The X4 dangling in front of the motorcycle, China. That stuff just became unavailable or incredibly expensive. So DJI has struggled with availability on their drones. If you've not noticed, it's been really hard to get the drone you want in stock somewhere. And now they're going to be struggling on pricing. Now I suspect that DJI and Insta360 will deal with this problem ultimately by shipping their products through another country that has a lesser tariff, which won't be hard to find since China is, you know, getting just absolutely hammered. And that's cool, you know, but it will increase the price because having to ship it somewhere else than ship it here, everybody's going to want a little take, right, on the transaction. It's going to bump the price up. There's just no free lunch here, kids. And so, moto vlogging, we're a small segment of the motorcycling world, but it's going to cost us a little bit more. I will be hanging on to my cameras a little longer probably. And one unintended consequence is I just bought everything I could possibly want that was made in China but was already on this shore. Basically bought pre-tariff inventory of camera lenses, action cameras, 360 cameras. I bought a drone. I mean, I probably dropped 3 G's in junk because I didn't want to deal with the post-tariff costs and have regret. I could always return this stuff or sell it used at the same price that I bought it for once the tariff kicks in and all the pre-tariff inventory is gone. So if you want something, you should probably go ahead and buy it if you can afford to do it. So y'all, if you're already feeling this or you're already thinking about it, let me know how this has impacted you in terms of your shopping habits or your future purchasing decisions, especially if you are looking at an IBEX 450. I would love to hear your feedback on what you think you're going to do now if you haven't bought one. And in 90 days or so, I will check back on the situation and see where I can detect or call out things that have actually materialized. We may get lucky. Perhaps we will dodge a bullet. China and the United States government will reach some kind of agreement, and this will be backed down. The situation will de-escalate, and all we will have is a brief interruption in supply chain of non-essential things. And let's face it, a lot of motorcycling is non-essential. But if we don't have that outcome, I'm going to make a follow-up video and I'm going to talk about it. And in the meantime, as this situation unfolds and you watch this video, subscribe to the channel and comment below and let me know, how is it impacting you? Did you pay more for something, and if so, how much more? Do you think it was worth it? What do you think of the unintended consequences of China being penalized, but now it's helping out Japan, Vietnam, and Thailand? I mean, did you think about that before? Did I open your eyes to something? Let me know. Until next time, ride safe, make great economic and shopping decisions, and have fun out there, y'all. See ya.